Star Wars prequels were my introduction to this galaxy, and while the music and visuals are iconic, it was the sound of the Podracers that really sparked my imagination. Sebulba's chugging rhythm, Anakin's high-pitched racer echoing throughout the canyons, and Rat's Tyrol going up in absolute flames. R.I.P. bro. The music tells you how to feel, but the sound design tells you where you are. The Star Wars universe feels used and lived in, and those Podracers are what I want to break down and recreate today. But here's the reality. To make a spaceship feel like it's from the future, you have to start with some sounds from the past. Pure synth sounds only get you so far. To get that Star Wars grit and grime, you need friction, old engines, rusted metal, and improvised sound objects. It's about taking these sounds and using them as raw source material to create something new. So how do we engineer that used universe that Star Wars so brilliantly creates? It's all about world building. In early science fiction, space was the ultimate frontier for the unknown, a vast mysterious void that felt truly otherworldly. Since humans were viewed as outsiders in space, the genre's sonic identity needed to feel detached from life on Earth, rejecting traditional sounds for something more alien. Composers faced an interesting problem. What does space actually sound like? Traditional wind, string, and percussion instruments were rooted in centuries of human history. Using these sounds for space felt too familiar. Composers needed to experiment with something completely new. One solution was found in the theremin. Invented in the 1920s by Leon Theremin, it converted hand gestures within electromagnetic fields into sound. By manipulating pitch and volume through two antennas without ever touching the instrument, performers could create ghostly, wavering glissandos that became the genre's bread and butter. This eerie electronic sound was immortalized in the 1951 classic, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Another banger is the sound of the spaceship landing in the 1956 movie Forbidden Planet. Experimental music artists Bebe and Louis Barron built custom electronic circuits and essentially burnt them out to create complex electronic tonalities. The sounds they produced were then used in the musical score and also as sound effects across the entire movie for the spaceship itself. But how does Star Wars fit into this? Well, it doesn't, and that's kind of the point. George Lucas's vision was a universe that felt used and lived in. For Star Wars, relying solely on electronic tonalities and pure synthesis for the ships sounded too clean. The vehicles were dirty, greasy, and a bit broken. To match that used universe aesthetic, sound designer Ben Burtt and his team had to think up something completely different. Instead of pure synthesis, they chose to layer real-world recordings to ground the spaceship in reality. For the Millennium Falcon, they used a combination of sounds, including an old 1920s army biplane, an airjet from a dentist's office, and sounds from armoured tanks. By layering real-world objects like tanks, trucks, old motors, planes, industrial equipment, and anything that rattles, they evoked a sense that space travel was no longer the ultimate frontier for the unknown, it was now a heavily industrialised Wild West. This brings us neatly back to why the Podracers sound so sick. The ships are essentially hot rods in space, vehicles built to serve a specific purpose: pod racing. To understand what a used universe sounds like, in this episode I'm going to redesign a short Podracer sequence, taking inspiration from the recordings and the sound design techniques used in the original film. Linked in the description is a small free library of a few sounds recorded for this video, so you can design along with me. I've also written a blog on the Learn page of my website, which goes more in depth on the history and sound design process. Any additional purchase you make on the website helps to support videos like these and creating new sound libraries, and you can find that all at rarefindssounddesign.com. To kick off this sound design, I'm going to start off with Sebulba. This was fun, but quite a difficult task. There's lots of behind the scenes videos and interviews with Ben Burtt hinting at the vehicles he recorded for the original pod race scenes. There were even recordings of things which weren't vehicles at all, but I'll get into that a little later. Right now, I want to focus on the vehicles, starting with Sebulba. Sebulba's Podracer is made up of a mix of a World War II P-51 Mustang engine, hot rods, dragsters, and an outboard motor from a boat. So this is what I recorded instead for my first attempt. An old VW camper van starting up, the pull start of a broken petrol strimmer, and muscle car revs and pass-bys at a car show. Let's start off with the camper van. This is my parents' old VW T2 camper van. It's got an air-cooled engine in the back of it, and I felt like this air-cooled engine shared some of the same irregular pops and bangs and clunks as the P51 Mustang engine Ben Burtt used in the original sound design. So what I'm going to do is start it up, poke around with the microphone, record the exhaust, and hopefully that'll get us close to that used universe aesthetic. I took one of those ignition sounds from the VW camper van and heavily processed it in a sampler to get something which sounded similar to the original chug 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 sound. I also tried the petrol strimmer for this chug sound too. While researching outboard motors for boats, some of these sounded really close to the original sound in the movie. These outboard motors were a little bit hard to come by, but I figured a petrol strimmer was essentially the same thing and much easier to find. Your local recycling centre is one of the best places to find cheap sound props. I experimented and listened to around 15 different strimmer pull cords and then ended up choosing this one. Next, I put the recordings I got into a granular synthesizer. A granular synthesizer works by chopping an audio sample into thousands of tiny little pieces called grains, and scattering, overlapping, or looping them to create new textures, which you can perform on a small MIDI keyboard like this. The strimmer recordings didn't make the cut for the chug 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 bit, but it got used in the section where it looks like you're riding on board the Podracer. The last bit of recording I got for Sebulba was the muscle cars. Luckily, there was a vintage American car meetup happening relatively local to me, so I popped along with my gear. I captured a handful of wicked pass-by sounds as the cars arrived and left the venue. That truck was sick because it had a weird spool. I think it was the supercharger. And here's all the sounds for Sebulba's Podracer mixed together. This sounded quite close to the original, but it was still lacking that raw glug 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 sound that Ben Burtt got from the World War II fighter plane. So in my head I thought, there's got to be a way to get something similar. It turns out that certain models of the P51 Mustang Ben Burtt recorded share the exact same Rolls-Royce engine as the iconic British Spitfire. This then led me down a rabbit hole where I discovered Spitfires.com, a British company offering flight experiences from an airfield just an hour's drive from me. Dunkerswell Aerodrome is a historic airfield built at the tail end of World War II. Originally home to both American and British squadrons, today it's one of the few locations where you can see these Spitfires in action. I was able to get close enough to capture flyovers, flybys, engine startups, propeller spins and takeoffs. So here's what my version sounds like with actual Spitfire layers added in. The next Podracer to tackle was the one flown by Mars Gua. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's this lanky fella. In an interview about the Podracers, Ben Burtt mentioned recording an electric toothbrush. So I wanted to take a similar abstract approach with this Podracer. That's where a vibrator and an old metal filing cabinet come in. But before you jump to any wild conclusions, let me explain myself. I picked up this filing cabinet around 10 years ago from the recycling centre, and it's been a fantastic sound prop ever since. I've recorded impacts, shakes, rattles, slams, scrapes, but this time what I really needed was a consistent drone, something that kinda sounded like an engine idling, and that's where the vibrator comes in. I chose this particular vibrator because it's large, powerful, and it has a few different modes and speeds. For one recording, I set it to max speed and held the end of it in my hand. This gave me the resonating sound I was after, as it stopped the vibrator from bouncing around uncontrollably. By holding it like this as opposed to this, I was able to apply more or less pressure on the metal, shifting the tonality. Another technique was setting the vibrator to slow speed and then lightly holding it so it bounced between my hand and the metal surface. I found it was easier to find the resonating pitch that way. All of these recordings with the vibrator and the metal filing cabinet then got heavily manipulated to create this. The final Podracer to design was Anakin's. This was a really fun one as I had quite a few of the recordings already, which were ideal. Anakin's Podracer is made up of Indy cars, F1 cars and drag racers. And I think some motorbikes as well. Last year I was lucky enough to get trackside at a rallycross event. You could check out that full video, I think it'll be up in this corner, pretty sure it's that corner. At this event I recorded supercars, cross cars, retro cars and captured onboard Max's turbocharged Mini. With a mixture of pitch shifting and distortion, these combined recordings got me close to the intensity of the original sound. Now, one crucial element I needed to nail which really sells the sound of the Podracers flying past was the Doppler effect. The Doppler effect is the change in the pitch of a sound based on the movement of the sound relative to the listener. In the scene I've redesigned, we have the Podracers coming towards the camera and flying past. When the source of the sound is moving towards you, so the Podracer approaching, the sound waves get squashed together. This makes the frequency higher. When the source of the sound is moving away from you, so when the Podracers come towards you and then go past, the sound waves get stretched out. This makes the frequency lower. Now I'm going to play a real-world example of the Doppler effect. This is a recording I got of a German police car zooming past with its sirens on. It's a perfect example of the change in pitch as the sirens approach, pass by, and then move away. The sound goes from a high pitch to a low pitch. To implement this, I used a plugin which replicates this effect, but you can achieve similar results manually by increasing and decreasing the volume, changing the pitch over time, and panning the sounds from left to right or right to left, depending on the movement on screen. As a final layer, I added some distorted jet flyby sounds to the tail end of the scene. It gave the Podracers a kind of afterburner sound, as if they were ripping through the air. And this is where I can't stress enough how important it is to have a little portable recorder with you all the time. One of the jet recordings I used was from a hiking trip in North Wales. 3 F-18s just so happened to fly through the valley I was hiking in. I scrambled to get my recorder out of the bag and managed to get the tail end of it. It just goes to show that some amazing sounds can be super spontaneous, and I'd be kicking myself if I didn't carry my little recorder to capture them. Taking all the sounds we've recorded and the information we know about the sound design process, here's the final sound recreation I settled on. Recreating the sounds of these iconic Podracers left me with a big realization. We don't just love the Podracers because they're fast, we love them because we can hear the machines rattling and the engines whirring, as if they could break down at any moment. They're mechanical sounds that feel deeply familiar to us, even a little bit nostalgic. It epitomizes the used universe George Lucas and his team worked so hard to create. And when you think about it, nostalgia is a funny feeling to have about a galaxy far, far away. If you'd like to learn more about what went into creating the Podracers, I've written a blog post on the Learn page of the website which goes more in depth on my redesign and the history of the original Podracers, showing you more of the effects, synthesis and audio manipulation. The link is down below. There is also a free spacecraft sound toolkit available on the website, which you can download to recreate some of your own sounds, along with the Content Essentials library, which was used to edit a lot of this episode. And that's about it for this episode. Cheers again for watching everyone, big loves and peace out.